Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look here at XRP, see what's going on. It's pretty straightforward. We're kind of consolidating right this point of control, this more local point of control from ever since April effectively started. We can see $2.13 is that heavy amount of volume. Okay, what does that mean for us here? Well, it means that we're consolidating at that level. You can either leg up or leg down from here. It's kind of one of those compression states where the price action works itself to a small little area and either breaks up or down. So we're in that point right now where the likelihood of breaking up, I think, is higher, but I feel like we're going to get a manipulative pullback here soon because Bitcoin is trending towards 83,000, and it does look like we're retesting this local support here for us. So let's go ahead and double check a couple of other things here on the back end, see what's going on, and take it from there. So XRP, what are we looking at here for liquidation in the last 7 days? Well, if we look at the last 7 days here, we can see there's a ton of liquidation at 210 as low as 205. So as I mentioned previously, getting in closer to $2 would be an awesome consideration. Between now and then, we may want to wait for it to break down first without getting in too early. Mainly because I do feel like Bitcoin is going to continue to progress lower. It's breaking free from its bearish type of pattern and effectively pulling back here. So I do personally think we're going to see a little bit more correction from Bitcoin. If that happens, I think the 2 to 205 range is logical for XRP. When it comes to larger liquidation, 207 is a pretty heavy concentration. There's a really massive large order there at about 500 million, roughly at 207. So somebody is probably stressing pretty bad right there. We take a look here, we can see liquidation delta. Pretty big amount of liquidation here to the downside, basically implying you don't want to take longs into this because there are more shorts in play than there are longs, and you want to go with the grain, not against the grain. This doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that it's difficult to drive against oncoming traffic. It's much easier to drive with traffic, right? That's the concept here right now. You don't want to just drive down that one-way street in the wrong direction. That's what you're going to do if you take a long with XRP. Granted, it's performing very, very well contrary to most coins right there. So I want you to recognize that there's a decent chance that Bitcoin holds this level, XRP will take off. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm wanting to take a long. I'm just waiting for Bitcoin to make its final move down to 83, maybe 82K, and then consider a long from there. That'll probably put us at $2 for XRP. Speaking of $2, if you look at open interest, we can see 193, $2, and 207, 208 roughly, are the three areas of open interest. There's a lot of open interest below the price, reinforcing support. So it's a good sign. I don't think we're going to be dropping too hard if we do with this coin. But once more, Bitcoin is on its way down. It's losing its structure here and effectively likely to break down to that 83K range. So that's kind of where we're at there. Now with XRP, let's quickly look at the daily time frame. And just to reiterate and reaffirm this to anyone who's new to the channel, by the way, thank you for always liking the videos and commenting. It's awesome to get that feedback, but also we had a good handful of new subscribers yesterday from our XRP videos, so it's really awesome to see that. Now, if you're new, just say you didn't catch yesterday's analysis or whatever, we're still in a descending trend. We're still under the 50-day SMA. There's no reason to be crazily bullish. We got a lot of resistance above us too with our point of control, our macro point of control at 241. So if you're going to take a long, secure profits between now and 241. That's the recommended way to trade. You try not to be one of those persons that takes a long to $5, $6, $7 and brags online about how amazing you are with a snapshot of your trade, right? That's really just not the right way to go. If you're going to trade for you and for you alone, and make sure that that it's not what you do that defines you. It's why you do what you do. Okay. And if you're trading to make this a business or maybe a career change, you want to treat it more seriously, I guess, is a better way to describe it. Cool. Anyways, just want to reiterate that because I get a lot of new traders coming over to my community. Be sure to join us, by the way, over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. We got a really good group over there. Specifically, Discord is where we interact the most. We got 50 on the RSI here, still implying that we're underneath that resistance, okay? So we close above 50 on the RSI. We close above that descending trend line. Bitcoin successfully removes its head from its ass. We stop getting less tariffs. We're going to be in a much better place to take a long at that point. Between now and then, it's just inherently more risky to long into a resistance. So just keep that in mind. All that being said, mostly good momentum on the daily time frame, 4 hours reflecting similar behaviors. Actually, no, correction, it is not. That has since changed. If we look at this here, we got momentum pushing to the downside, stochastic swinging down. It is getting closer to its overextended state, but it's only doing that because the price went sideways. That's a false positive. We don't really read into that. What we do read into here is 50 on the RSI holding as support. So if we don't hold above 210 today, then I think there's a decent chance we're going to continue lower. Okay, but if we do maintain 210 or higher, hypothetically we're going to go up from here. It does require Bitcoin to go sideways and up and stop pulling back, because it's these little pullbacks here that are causing XRP to react or respond negatively. But this isn't bad though. You look at this price action, you compare it to other coins, like most coins are just going straight down. XRP is looking pretty solid in this range. Okay, it's performing similar to Solana, which I feel is still a pretty good coin at this point. So all that being said, hourly time frame, what are we looking at here? Well, we've broken below the cloud. Granted, range-bound activity tends to do that. And this really kind of just tells us that downside makes more sense, but we also got to treat this support range here with respect as well, and not just short into it until it's broken. So if you're going to short, keep in mind, a tight short is recommended. I wouldn't try to short anywhere lower than $2. I don't think that's practical. I do personally feel like this 2 to 205 range is going to hold very strong as a good support if we see that. So I'm still leaning more towards getting in between 2 and 205 for a long position to the upside. Keep in mind that long position is not going to be to the moon. It'll be to like 240 or lower, because that's our macro point of control. Significant amount of resistance at 240. Okay. All right, cool. I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Hope that makes sense and how I described it today. Why don't you comment below? Let me know your position on XRP. What are you doing? Are you long? Are you short? Buying the dips? Adding to your spot bag? Where are you at? I hope you learned something today either way. Appreciate you very much. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.